I really like the guitar strumming towards the end of that. I just really
Yeah,
like that part. There's like certain little parts that I
yeah.
like to pick from.
I
But
feel you,
anyway,
man. I'm on board with it.
greetings,
I'm on board
everyone.
with it.
Greetings, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of the Death Taxes and Sports Podcast, episode 123. We're having so many episodes, Ben. Like we talked on the phone yesterday. We're like, okay, what episode now? We're not at
Mhm.
2 and 3 anymore, my friend. We're in the hundreds. But sir, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Packing
Awesome.
and getting everything ready, but ready to talk some sports, man. Lot of
I'm
NFL,
with it,
lot of
man.
NFL,
Listen,
and man, my
listen.
UNC team. We got a little sweep on y'all. Not bad.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
no.
talk about that, sunshine. We'll talk about that. Relax, relax. It's okay. It's okay. I got something special for you. Anyway, so he took my thunder, ladies and gentlemen. But so tonight we're going to be discussing South Carolina women's basketball. Man, a little bit of hypocrisy as far as the messaging with that. UNC, yes, you guys swept it. And I said before, you guys were the better team. You had us this year. Congratulations. NFL free agency, which I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot, and we're probably going to go over the hour. So I'm okay with that. And then the 8 Mile style battles are back, assuming everyone else joins us. Gary will wake
Yeah,
up from his nap.
we can wing
But
it at the end. We can skip the
yeah,
battles and keep going
yeah.
NFL. We'll
Let's
see how
go
it
for it,
goes.
man.
But
But
let's start
man,
with South Carolina, man. We
South
got to show.
Carolina, South Carolina basketball, 33-0. Man, first off, that game against Tennessee,
Mm,
where our friend whose name I don't even know, you probably know, made that 3-pointer
oh, the
to for them to make
semifinals.
it. Yes, in the
Semifinals
semifinal,
at
man,
the buzzer to
the
make
drama.
the three. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man,
I
I
was driving.
completely.
I was driving. Of course, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But I'm driving. And I'm like, wait a second. I know there's got to be some NCAA game on, women's or men's, right? So I put on ESPN, and I'm like, holy crap, they're down. There's less than 30 seconds left, and they're losing. And then all of a sudden, it refreshes when I got home. I seen they made a three at the buzzer to win it. I'm like, that's crazy. To keep your
You know what?
undefeated season on a game-winning shot.
The thing is, though, is that they lost their whole entire starting five. They lost to Leah Boston, who was the number one player in the WNBA draft last season.
Mm-hmm.
They were just very quiet. No one gave them any respect. And then to continue to not just do that, but to just replenish your whole entire starting five and then win your eighth SEC title in 10 seasons. I mean, man, talk about dominance, man. It's a different type of dominance versus what UConn went through, you know?
Yeah, man, it just proves the point how much coaching matters. It's like, man, Dawn Staley, I mean, can someone have a more impressive resume? Like, not only as a player, everything she did as a player, and now all the success she's having as a coach. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like she's like the basketball queen, So it's like
Yeah, yeah,
she's done everything at a amazingly high level. Like it's crazy. Like
exactly.
you
Yeah.
gotta
And
give somebody like that credit that she's basically has always exceeded expectations as a player and now as a coach. She's just always been great. Like some people got that dog in them, man. And
yeah,
yeah, to be
I
33 and
think
0. Oof.
And I think what's even more impressive is in today's women's basketball, because I feel the level of competition is greater across the
Mm-hmm.
board. Like
Yeah.
UConn is still 28-5. They're 29-5 and won their conference tournament once again. We're forgetting about UConn, but they're continuously be dominating. But USC,
Mm-hmm.
that school, I call it the Iowa. I guess that Iowa team will give them a little bit of credit. USC, UCLA. I mean,
But yeah,
you
but
get where I'm going with that.
the top of the women's game, man, there's probably like 10 to 12 teams that you're like, man, any one of
That
these
could win
can
it,
they could win the whole
right?
thing. And like
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man,
yeah.
we've been talking about it. Like the women's tournament might get more views than the men's tournament. Actually, I don't even think it's might. I would put likely or probably will, to be
Uh,
honest.
I mean, and that's a good point. Gary, how you doing?
Wonderful, guys. How you doing?
Good, man.
Fantastic.
Good, good. Yeah, we were glad that you're making it today because we have some ladies college basketball, South Carolina. I mean, 33-0 record. We know how much you just love college sports, Gary. I know it's your favorite thing in the world. No sarcasm at all. But your thoughts, man. Let's get you in this one. For a guy who
Well,
loves college sports.
Leave the man alone, will you? Let him comment, huh?
listen, I may not be as in tune with college sports as the rest of y'all, but I was paying attention this weekend, and what we saw were two matchups. Really, you were a miracle three from your 6'7" center away from your first loss, and then you got down and dirty with LSU, which I think, frankly, for LSU, kind of leans into their style of game and how they like to play mind games with their opponent. So, you're starting to see the blueprint of how this South Carolina team is beatable. I think, this team has a lot of what we saw out of the Zion Williamson Duke teams from back in the day, from a few years ago, like where they were dominating everybody and they had a few close calls and they finally got at the wrong time. And I see a lot of that with this team. And, granted, they have one of the greatest women's players of all time, really one of the greatest players of all time, in Dawn Staley as their coach. And she's been kind of that straw stirring the drink, if you will. And she's been very helpful.
She's like the modern day Pat Summitt.
Exactly.
It works better comparison wise than Gino, because Gino's still doing it. And also SEC team Tennessee, SEC South Carolina. It works. It works.
Well, I mean, Tennessee with what as far as like Tennessee, as far as like what Pat Summitt and what like the staple that Tennessee plays within women's college basketball, because they were so good for so long, and for them out of all teams to be able to make it and almost dethrone South Carolina was rather impressive. But to your point, Gary, and then we'll keep going to the next segment, is that South Carolina, it does look a little bit vulnerable. And especially with some of these teams, man. You look at Ohio State, you look at UCLA. I mean, there's so many teams that
kind of gives off those sorry, Jeff. It kind of gives off those vibes. Remember that Kentucky team that almost went undefeated? Yeah. But there was kind of some flaws. They were like made it to like 36-0 or something, and then lost in the Final Four. It's kind of like you can see that happening again.
Yeah, they lost to Wisconsin. But anywho, let's get to this one. I know it's your favorite one, Ben, so let's just get through it. Let's just, sometimes you just got to take your lumps and you just got to keep it going. This Duke UNC game. Overall thoughts, both teams. Where do we think their season's going to end? Just kind of curious. Gary, being that you just got on, just kind of want to throw this to you, and then we'll throw it to the Tar Heels fan later.
Really, you can see North Carolina is leaps and bounds better than Duke, at least this season. And
I agree.
That's not for me picking one side or the other. That's just looking at the numbers, looking at the stats, and looking at just the overall play from both teams. I think I will say this. Perhaps the best thing for Duke was to be swept by North Carolina this season, because now that you've kind of reached the bottom, it kind of goes from there. Like, listen, all you need is a hot run, and the likelihood of you running into North Carolina again between now and the end of this, at the end of the tournament, is very, very low. So I think for them, taking their lumps by North Carolina is going to just kind of, losing Bill's character. It kind of falls in that sense. And then as far as North Carolina goes, I look at this men's basketball tournament as being kind of wide open this year. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day we're talking about North Carolina as a national champion. It is just more so momentum. And I think right now the Tar Heels got a lot of momentum on their side.
All valid points, Ben.
I would say that to me, the turning point was I had to look up to see the exact score because I wanted to be on point. So North Carolina, at Duke, so on the road, obviously hostile environment, led start to finish. However, the biggest possession in the game to me, it was early in the second half. Carolina was up 43-42, and Duke gets the ball with a chance to take the lead. And they missed the layup, and then North Carolina made 2 free throws. That's the closest they ever got, 43-42. And after that, it was never really in danger. It was still, 6-8 points. It was still relatively close, but you never got as close as that. And I don't know if Duke would have won if they had made that layup and took the lead, but obviously that was their best chance at that point in the game to take the lead. And they had the ball down by 1, and they couldn't score to go up. And they never got as close as that again. But yeah, we said it after the first game, and we said it, prior to this game. Despite their records being almost identical, Going into that game, I think they were exactly the same. 24 and 6. They were both 24-6. They were both 16 or 15-3 in the conference, 16-3 in the conference. Their records were almost identical, but we've said it, like North Carolina this year is just better. Top to bottom, I mean, they got, RJ Davis, who won an ACC Player of the Year. You got Baycott, who made first team All ACC. Like, you got dudes. And for Duke, like, their main guy, Filipowski, like, he didn't do anything the first half. He got going, but it's like we needed you the whole game, not for just a half. And they got, the production out of him for only the second half. And I think, your best player or one of your best players, kind of having a slow start, that kind of, I don't know, it can impact the team if that's one of your best players struggling.
Yeah. And there were a couple of things I wrote here for Duke. Vulnerability, beatable, Filipowski, effective, and that extra something. UNC has that extra something over Duke, like Denver has that little extra something over the Lakers. Whereas every game is always close, but they always have that 1-2 punch that does what they need. Duke does not have that 1-2 punch. The Tar Heels do with RJ Davis and Armando Baycott. What is the 1-2 punch for the Lakers? I mean, not for the Lakers, for Duke. Filipowski, when he wants to show up, but he can get in foul trouble. And if he faces anyone that's aggressive or is physical, he kind of caves. So you wonder about Duke, do they have that toughness to be able to kind of bully their way through the NCAA tournament? Because they got bullied against a Tennessee team that was just older, more physical, and just straight dogged them. Duke was the better team, but that toughness, Gary, I think we sometimes we kind of undervalue. Your thoughts?
No, in this part of the year, after all the wear and tear, after all of the bumps and everything that you're going through your season in and season out, for the start of the season through now, mental toughness is really what wins the day. You look at a team like last season, Connecticut. There was no star, there was no household name on that team before the tournament started. It took hustle, heart, and really just kind of that grit to get them through to the national championship. They're the first true, I think they might be one of the last true teams to win without having a absolute star alpha dog player. And that's kind of what we're looking at now. You look at North Carolina, they have a bunch of alpha dogs. You look at them that's a team that is built to go far.
Right, Ben?
Yeah, I was just going to say, to illustrate our point of UNC being the better team, combined between the two games, Duke led for 16 seconds. That's it.
I mean,
16 seconds.
You don't need to put the salt on the wound.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't need to put the salt in the wound.
I just read the statistic.
You see what he's doing, Gary? You see what he's doing? Nah, man, disrespectful.
And we'd be remiss to not give credit to Mr. Cormac Ryan. Holy crap!
Hey,
31 points, six threes, but yeah, we can keep.
He was like 25 years old. He was 25 years old playing with. I'm just saying, he's like 25. He's a grown man. So I'm just saying. If I'm 25, about to be 26, and I don't put buckets on some kids, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Y'all.
No,
sorry, America. But anyway, let's get this thing going. Oh man. Oh man. We have so many moves to discuss. We got Russell Wilson. Hold on.
Wait, you're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead real quick. Let's just have some fun. Let's be bold. Where does Duke season's end? Where does Carolina season end? You know what I mean? Why not have some fun?
Right. My bad. No, my bad. Forgot. Go ahead.
We can be quick.
Okay, Duke, I see Sweet 16 in their sights. I think they can get to at least that point. North Carolina, I see North Carolina as a Final Four team. Will they win it all? I think the chips have to fall in their favor at that point. Because then you're going to see a lot more of the talented teams flesh out towards the end there. But yeah, I'd say Sweet 16 for Duke, Final Four for North Carolina.
Okay. All right. Ben?
I'll say Sweet 16 for Duke, and I don't know. Something's telling me North Carolina's gonna lose just before. So I'll say Elite Eight for North Carolina.
I think Duke can make it to an Elite Eight, just depending on who they play. I just think that depending on matchups, and I also have UNC going to the Elite Eight. I just think it's just going to depend on matchups. They have different type of styles of play, so we'll see. We'll go on that one. We'll go. But all right, now can we move on, Ben?
We good, man. We got plenty of NFL. Let's
All right,
go.
cool.
Let's go.
Oh man, so everyone, so we have NFL moves. So we're going to spend about 2 to 3 minutes talking on several players. So we're going to be talking about Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Saquon Barkley, Brian Burns, and as well as Josh Jacobs. Just overall thoughts. But first off, man, this Russell Wilson, there's just something about it that feels right for me. But you look at the weapons that they had. But Deontay Johnson just got traded to the to the Panthers.
Oh
so
my God!
I'm
Imagine
like,
going from like a legit playoff team to the worst team, probably.
The penthouse to the outhouse.
Yeah. But something tells me that the Steelers have a plan because one thing they do very well is drafting receivers. So I'm not worrying about them. If it was like another team, yeah, but I think they're going to find a diamond in the rough receiver to go inside of George Pickens. And if Russell Wilson can be anywhere near as effective than Kenny Pickett, because the Steelers only had 25 touchdowns in 2 seasons. That's pretty terrible.
And
Ben,
Russell in a down year on the decline had 26 last year. 25 over
he can still push the ball.
So,
he can still push the ball down the field. But go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I think with Wilson in Denver, I think I'm just going to focus on this year because last year was, Nathaniel Hackett can't hack it, all that crap. This year, I think Peyton did the best that he could, but I think that he never wanted him. And he protected Russell to the point of, they didn't take many shots. And it's kind of like, I just think that marriage was never going to work between Peyton and Russell Wilson. And he did pretty good. 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. And the Steelers have a really good team. Really good team. Especially their defense. They just stole the guy from the Ravens, Patrick Queen, and to go along with TJ Watt and their secondary. They are a really good team. They are a really, really good team. And let's be honest, with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, who, yes, 100% are better quarterbacks than Russell Wilson, but they both also have an injury history. So if one of them or both of them misses 4 or 5 games, is it crazy to say the Steelers could win the division? I don't think so. I think they got the talent. I don't know. I think it makes sense I think it makes sense for both sides, Russell and Pittsburgh. I think it's a good move.
Gary, before you give your thoughts, I want to throw you this question. Does this kind of remind you of a Steve McNair situation when I think he left Tennessee to go to the Ravens? I think it was 2006. A lot of people had him down. He clearly wasn't the same player, but he was still effective enough with all the other weapons around him, and he elevated that team. The Steelers last year made the play, still had a winning record with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. And I think Russell Wilson is a huge upgrade. Does that give you that sense, that Steve McNair-esque sense?
I can see that. I can follow you on that comparison. I think it's very much there for them to be more successful. I think the difference between Denver and Pittsburgh is a lot more stability in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get more stable than having a coach, just 3 coaches in 55 years of existence there or something like that. In the last 55 years, they've had three head coaches. I think, like you said, once they have the weapons to, they draft a couple of wide receivers, they pick up somebody. It doesn't need to be a huge name, but it has to be somebody that's effective. You combine that and Najee Harris, you're basically giving Russell Wilson kind of new life. And again, I don't ever trust that. Let me try it again. I don't ever count out Mike Tomlin in any situation because he's shown us time and time and time again he can take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad. Because there's no if you look at that Pittsburgh team on paper last season, there was no reason that they should have made the playoffs. There's no reason for them to have been as relevant as they were. Now you're giving them a name and an actual arm that's better than Mason Rudolph, better than Kenny Pickett. Like, you're right, Ben. This is a team that is a dark horse in the AFC North, but easily just a dark horse in the AFC period. This is a wild card team that's a lot more dangerous now than it was a year ago.
Yeah, and Ben, real quick, I think the Ravens honestly messed up on a really good opportunity to capitalize and win a Super Bowl. Because I think next year that division is going to be an absolute gauntlet. It is going to be the most competitive division. Every game is going to be something, and hopefully that T. Higgins situation in Cincinnati gets worked out.
Real quick, imagine the Steelers sign Tyler Boyd, weakening the Bengals, strengthening them, and Boyd is a free agent. You're not going to have to trade anything for him.
Yeah.
And then if they possibly lost Higgins too, like the Bengals are. You know what I mean? Like
Boyd is not a scrub.
Boyd could definitely help the Steelers, and you're hurting your rival at the same time. Like that would be big, and he ain't gonna cost much either. He ain't gonna cost much.
No, I was gonna say you lose Higgins, you lose Boyd. That's and then you just moved on from Joe Mixon. Like this Cincinnati team that we all thought
starting to crater a little bit.
This team that we said was a healthy Joe Burrow away from actually winning a Super Bowl is looking like they're closer to a top 10 pick in the draft.
I mean, hey, it's tough to sustain. I mean, you can only pay so many people, and we already know that situation. Man, Kirk Cousins. This one, Gary, is a little bit. It makes them the favorite in the division. I think we all can agree on that because he's the better quarterback. But a guy who's 36, coming off of a major injury, no mobility. We don't know if Drake London can even be the number one receiver, even though he's good, but he's not to Justin Jefferson's ability. And in prime time, we know what Kirk Cousins is. So with all that said, take it away, Gary. Tell us a story.
Like Atlanta, like, yes, you're going to win the division, but that's in that division, the NFC South, that's like being the smartest horse of the bunch. Like there's very little that I'm sitting there looking at and going, oh my God, this Atlanta team's going to be dangerous. Yes, they've definitely gotten better. They upgraded at the quarterback position where they most certainly needed it. But I'm sorry, what else am I looking at with this team that's made me go, okay, this is a contender right here? They still got work to do. There's still holes in their offense that they need to patch up. And, they're going to be a fun story next season. I'll say that. They're going to be fun to watch. But for the very same reason, we've all talked about it. Kirk Cousins is allergic to primetime. He's allergic to He's allergic to January football as well. So exactly what did you pay for, Atlanta, except for relevancy?
And the thing that I think would get the fans more excited, Ben, if they had gotten Justin Fields, but the cost and the risk would have been a lot lower versus having to pay Kirk Cousins. Because even if you sign Justin Fields to an extension, it probably would be a Baker Mayfield type of extension, maybe a little bit lower in guarantees, maybe 35 to 40 million guaranteed, 3 years, 120 million, because they would have the leverage. But instead, they committed $100 million to a 36-year-old Asian quarterback. Make it make sense, Ben.
Yeah. Cousins is what he is at this point. He's going to, let's be honest. If you just took the names away and you did A, B, and C, and you did Tony Romo, Kirk Cousins, and Dak Prescott, you have like they're the same. They're all the same. They get you a lot of regular season stats, a lot of regular season wins, and division wins, and playoff appearances. Then it comes to the playoffs, and they just fall flat on their head. Like that's what you're getting. We know who Kirk Cousins is. All of a sudden, at 36, he's going to turn into a player that's going to lead a team to the Super Bowl. Like, come on now. He has one playoff win. He's 36 years old. He has one playoff win. Like
Achilles injury.
And the Achilles injury. And to be fair, though, they did. I like the signing of Mooney. They signed the former Bears receiver, Darnell Mooney. So you get Mooney, you got Drake, you got Pitts, you got Bijan, and I think for sure they're drafting a receiver in the first round. Whether they stay where they are, which I think is number 8, or they might try and move up, I think they're going to draft a receiver, and maybe in the later rounds, maybe they take someone in the 3rd or the 4th round as well. Their defense actually was top 10 in a lot of categories last year. That safety that they got last year from Cincinnati, Jesse Bates, played really well and elevated that defense. But yeah, as far as can they be a contender in the NFC for like legit Super Bowl contender? No. Like even though Dallas never does anything in January, I'd be more comfortable saying Dallas is going to go to the Super Bowl, which isn't going to happen. But you'd be better off betting money on that than Atlanta.
I mean, yeah.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, $100 million for a 36-year-old quarterback is just outrageous. I'm sorry. I mean, that's an Achilles injury. I mean, do we think all of a sudden he's going to develop some type of mobility? I think not. But
Jeff, are you saying at 36 he can't get the fountain of youth? Is that what you're saying?
No. Yeah. No. But anyway, Gary, any other thoughts on Kirk Cousins before we go to your boy Saquon and let you lead off with that one?
No, just we've nailed it on the head here. Like Atlanta's going to be good. They'll probably win the division, but they're probably going to be a team that will easily lose in Wild Card Weekend. So there's not a lot to celebrate there in Atlanta. At least you'll be relevant.
Yeah, no doubt. Great. So let's take it away, Gary. Say how you feel about Saquon. We're here for you, Gary. We're here for you. So take it away.
I want to say first and foremost that Tiki Barber has replaced Silky Johnson as the hater of the year. Period. Point blank. Like, this is why Tiki's not loved by Giants fans like that, because he's always been like a salty, pardon the phrase, he's been a salty, like, bitter bitch this whole time since he retired. For me, does it hurt that Saquon Barkley is going to be in the enemy uniform? You damn right it is. Because it's the NFC East. Any jersey that's not ours, I'm going to be mad at. So he could have gone to Dallas. He could have gone to Washington. It didn't matter. It was always going to be that hurt of really, like, you left us for them. But this is one of the few times where I'm looking at this and going, I don't blame Saquon. The Giants made it very clear to him, not once, but twice, we don't value you at the number that you want to be valued at. All Philly did, all he did was go to a team and a city in an area that he's familiar with, very familiar with, and they gave him the money that he was looking for, and he's on a team that's closer to a Super Bowl run than the Giants are. So if I hold anybody responsible for Saquon Barkley being an Eagle right now, I hold that on the Giants management. I get it. Perhaps Joe Shane wanted to get rid of all the Gettleman picks out, get them all out, wherever as quickly as possible, and build from his own. If that's the case, fine. So then we can say that. But as far as like this, like vitriol towards Saquon for being with the Eagles, yeah, he's gonna catch that because it's Giants Eagles. There's nothing he can do about that. But am I going to hold this against him? Am I going to burn his jersey in effigy and say, the hell is Saquon Barkley? No. He simply went out there and got the money that he was looking for and frankly deserved. It just sucks that it happened to be in our division. I prayed for it. I prayed for the Houston Texans, and they're about to be better off with Joe Mixon. But, like, I was hoping – listen, if he went to the Texans, I'd buy a Texans jersey right now. But – the money
I really was hoping he was going to the Texans.
I was hoping literally any team
besides the
outside of the
NFC
NFC
East.
East. That was it.
Yeah.
But he went to the number one enemy. Well, 1A. 1B is, of course, Dallas. But he went to 1A. And it hurts. It hurts to see it. But I can't sit there and place blame upon Saquon for trying to get his when they're devaluing running backs at such a high clip.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for Philly. I think they may have overpaid slightly given his injury history. But at the same time, if they wanted him, you got to pay. Like in the early days of free agency, if you don't outbid somebody, you ain't getting the dude. So if you're going to be active at the beginning of free agency, you're probably going to have to pay maybe a little bit more than you want to. But if you've determined that's the guy, that's who you want, then that's what you do. He's going to hugely benefit from that A, offensive line. Even without Kelsey, it's still going to be good. And B, from having Jalen Hurts as a runner, as a running threat. So Saquon has never had it easier than he's going to have it next year with all the weapons Philly has, as great as Philly has been, and Jalen Hurts being a running quarterback. It can be mutually beneficial for Hurts and Saquon by limiting both their touches in the running game.
And I'm sorry, Ben. And real quick, they haven't gotten moved off of DeAndre Swift, have they?
No, he's in Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Okay, that's why I'm like, because if he would have stayed, now that's a 1-2 punch that can be real lethal. But be that as it may.
But he's in a good. Saquon's in a good situation. He's a great offense.
He's not the only weapon anymore. I think that's the part that's really going to be the biggest difference. Mm-hmm. He's no longer the offense.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to carry the load. Right. Exactly. They can manage him.
Good for him. Really.
Exactly. I think they're going to get another running back in the draft to kind of offset his production. I don't see him getting 30 carries a game. I see him getting maybe 15 to 18. For them, they're trying to get to the Super Bowl, so it's kind of the way they do Christian McCaffrey when they traded for him. But here's my thing. It's not like the move with Saquon is great, but it's from a coaching and expectation perspective for me. Sirianni has no excuse now to not dominate and go. If this team doesn't go at least 13-4, maybe 12-5, and really just inserts itself, then there's questions as far as, is Jalen Hurts, was he a one-hit wonder as far as had a great 2022 season, had a rather down 2023, or was that attributed to his knee injury? We don't know. So this year he's going to have to prove it a little bit more. Sirianni, he is on the hot seat. If they start out anywhere like 1-4, 2-3, he's gone. Gary, I feel like you want to get in this.
Just as an aside, Jalen Hurts, grow that goatee back out. What the hell is this? You look like you look like a divorced dad. Like what are you doing?
Just when I said a divorced dad.
I've seen these pictures and I'm like, you don't look like, you look sick. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
But Gary, I wanted to echo what you said on Saquon though. As much as it hurts the Giants fans and the Giants to go inside the division, what did you expect him to do? He just wanted the money, and they would never give it to him. So what do you want him to do?
And Ben, the thing that pisses me off is just the fact that, like, we could have had him for these numbers last year.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as I said to you, this was the telltale sign that Joe Shane wants to clean house and build his roster from the ground up. And if it turns out that this all works out in the long run and we're better off for it, all power to him. But if this backfires, his ass got to go too.
There's going to be, and then we'll move to Brian Birds in a second, but I feel that there are certain key moments in franchise history that could change the trajectory of its franchise, right? The Patriots with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. We could go on and on. In 2022, they made the playoffs and won a playoff game, and they had a decision to make whether to give the money to Daniel Jones or to give the money to Saquon Barkley, but they decided to do it for Daniel Jones. This team
Wrong.
could arguably be one of the worst teams in the NFL next year. They might only win 3 or 4 games because how the hell are they going to score?
Give me 4 wins. That's all I ask for. You see how low the bar has been set. Just give me 4. You give me more than 4,
Exactly.
I'll be happy.
Yep. Ben, any other thoughts before we go to Brian Burns?
No, we're
Okay.
good. I mean, the
All right.
one guys did good in the offseason is Brian
All right.
Burns.
Sounds good. All right. Gary, because you are the Giants fan, we'll give you Brian Burns as well to start off with. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I mean, he's not – I'm here, so you'll just hear me on audio for a second here. As far as Brian Burns is concerned, he's a game changer. Like, I'm not going to sit there and discredit him or devalue him or anything like that. I do believe, though, that if he can stay healthy, then that will be a hell of an asset for us long term. There wasn't – once you lose –
Gary is no longer with us. I don't think. His sound
Yay.
Okay, your sound is back. Sound's back? Okay.
Okay,
you
sorry.
there?
Can you hear me now?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, buddy. Yep, welcome back.
Okay, so I was saying, though, that with Brian Byrne, I'm like, losing Saquon and then picking him up and paying the money that we're paying, it's just kind of like, I sent the Craig Robinson meme to you guys, just like, yay, just the unexcited. Like, he's not the name, he's not the big splash free agent that we were all looking for, so there's going to be pressure on him to deliver just because we're always going to equate him and Devin Singletary to, hey, we lost Saquon Barkley, we lost a generational talent, but hey, we brought back Brian Byrne and Devin Singletary. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't got too many thoughts on this, Ben, because I just feel like, yes, it's a good piece. It's a good centerpiece, but they just have so many holes on that team. It's hard to get excited, I feel. They're going to be
focus more. I'm going to focus more on Carolina because they've gotten a lot of crap over the years, and they probably will continue to. But you trade a top 2 running back in the NFL in his prime, probably the best running back, and now you trade a 25-year-old absolute stud on defense, and you didn't get 1 first-round pick. Like the best running back, or at worst, the top 3 running back, and one of the best, let's say, 10 defensive players across all defense in the entire NFL, and you don't even get a first-round pick back. Like, I'm sorry, the crap show, I'm trying to be a little bit PG, in Carolina, this guy, David Tepper, has the possibility to be the worst owner in all of sports ever.
I think he's he's already there. No, I think he's already there.
It's so bad. And especially that there's numerous reports and valued sources that they turned down 2 first-round picks for Burns 2 years ago, and the Rams wanted him. So now you turn that down, and then 2 years later you get like a 2nd and a 5th-round pick for a 20. Like, it's mind-blowing how bad. Like, if you put the 3 of us and got us all drunk together, and then we could run the Carolina Panthers for a month, we probably would be better than him.
See, I believe Ben, is called professional malpractice, organizational malpractice. The Carolina Panthers are habitual people that commit organizational malpractice, and it's a sad shame. And yes, I think David Tepper definitely.
I mean, he's there for me. I mean, the amount of coaches that he's fired, the amount of coaches that he's still paying money for, he's still going to be paying Frank Reich for another 2 or 3 years, and he's still paying our friend that's coaching at Nebraska now, whose name I cannot remember. So he's already paying for 2 or 3 coaches. Yeah, Matt Rule.
Yeah, Matt Rule.
Because he signed him. Yeah, Yeah, because he was a smart guy. Want to give a guy a 6-year freaking $60 million contract. I mean, hey,
And
if that's
let's
what you
be
want to
honest,
do.
it's way too early to consider it a huge mistake at this point. But CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, that's something that will
No,
always be
no,
on his resume as well.
Ben, we can
Always on
say
his resume.
we can say that he made a huge mistake because
Yeah.
CJ Stroud looks like he's going to be in that mix in the AFC for the foreseeable future. Bryce Young might be out the league in the next 2 years.
Yeah. That
I
and
don't see it working for Bryce Young. I just don't see it. I mean, a guy that small,
He'll
that
be in the
frail, I
XFL.
just don't. Yeah, I just don't, and that's why maybe I was just biased. I said that C.J. Stroud was going to be the better prospect. He's taller. He had the better arm. I don't know. But we could talk about this for years. Let's get to this one for Josh Jacobs because Ben, I want to get your temperature check. I think they vastly overpaid for Josh Jacobs, in my opinion.
I
And I feel like he's on the decline a little bit. He only had 800 yards rushing. The injury history, the attrition, there was already concerns about him before the year he led the league in rushing. So now you're paying for him. Is he better than Aaron Jones? I'm not sure. Your thoughts?
I don't like the move at all if I was a Packers fan. Like, I know Aaron Jones is slightly older. I think it's 3 years older. I think it's 26 and 29, something like that. But Aaron Jones is just better. And even though Aaron Jones has some injury history as well, the one thing that we can say is so far, knock on wood if you believe in that, his injuries have been on the minor side. It has not been, it's been hamstring, it's been ankles, it hasn't been torn ACL, like huge injuries. So, he's mostly going to be available. He's going to play at least 12 games every year for the most part. And he's a better catcher than Jacobs, and he's a better runner than Jacobs. He's just a better player. And you already had a very good duo between Jones and AJ. And it just seems like it's almost like they're trying to outsmart themselves. I just don't, I can't see any world where Josh Jacobs is better than Aaron Jones. I can't see that world. I don't think it makes any sense, to be honest. And you would have been able to get Aaron Jones for less money.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and the thing is, Gary, it's like the same thing. I feel that like the Packers have a hot hand with Jordan Love, and that chemistry is very, very, very important. And you don't want to, like when you got something special, you don't want to mess that up. You just don't. And I'm not sure if Josh Jacobs is. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I like him, but your thoughts?
Let me pose the question to you guys. Like, do you see this? You guys see this as a lateral move, right? Like, as far as for the Packers are concerned,
I see it as a slight downgrade.
Yeah,
slight downgrade. Okay. Well, either way, you're looking at this and you're asking yourselves, like, are you investing too much in Jordan Love that you can go ahead and make a decision like this? I think with Jordan Love, we saw last season him trying to take that step forward, but I think there's a little bit of buyer beware on his end as far as like, yes, he had a great season, but so did Daniel Jones at one time, and look at where it got us. So I feel like there's a little bit of hesitation. So, exactly. So now you I see it from the Packers side of like, listen, load up. Let's kind of see, let's build off what we had last season. Let's see, is this actually sustainable? I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to be the answer. I don't look at him and go, okay, he's going to make them a top 2 seed in the NFC. He's just going to be kind of the same. I see this. There's a downgrade because he's older, but at the end of the day, I don't see them being any different than they were this past season. The 10-win team, wild card, and maybe they win the game, maybe they don't.
If they get that Josh Jacobs back in 2022, where you saw the way he was running through his holes, right? Like he tore up our defense. He tore up my Broncos defense's break too. Like he's not a scrub, but last year he just wasn't that guy, right? Like if he can be that dude in 2022, which you just don't know with running backs. It's really it's like Ben, it's like Todd Gurley, for instance. Like the man
Yeah.
was a beast
hmm
for 2.5
And look,
years,
and
and then just completely
even look at Dalvin Cook, 1,000 yard
I
season,
mean,
3 years in a row, like over 1,500 yards. I think 2 out of those 3 years, and
yeah,
now like it happens fast for running backs. The fall
which
happens
is crazy.
fast, real
Yeah.
quick.
So that's why I'm really concerned about Josh Jacobs and the amount of money because you're not paying for past production, you're paying for the future. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know. But let's kind of keep this thing going here, unless there are any other thoughts on Josh Jacobs.
No, we
No
can
more.
keep it rolling to
Okay.
another running
All
back.
right. Now,
You want to go to
yeah,
King
man.
Henry?
These some
You
of
want to go to King Henry?
yeah, Derek. Yes, yes. Ben, I'll let you lead off with this one. I think it's great. I'm just curious to see schematically how that's gonna work. It's gonna work, but
Mm,
I'm just curious to see how it works out, X's and O's. That's all I'm
yeah.
curious on. Go ahead.
For me, I feel like Henry with Lamar as a quarterback and Saquon as Hurts as a quarterback, it's a match made in heaven for both of them. It's going to make the quarterbacks' lives easier. It's going to make the running backs' lives easier. And one thing we know about Baltimore the last several years is they run and they
Yes,
run
they do.
and they run and they dominate
And
in
they
the run
run.
game. They run some more, then they run some more. And now, similar to the Eagles with Hurts, you can probably, you never want to take away Hurts' running ability, Lamar's running ability. Like that's part of why they're as great as they are. But you can, with these stud running backs, you can minimize the workload as far as rushing goes for both of those quarterbacks. And Derrick Henry and Saquon have never seen the holes they're about to see in September. Like you have to pay attention to their quarterbacks. These guys, they have good offensive lines. Both teams, the Eagles and the Ravens, have good offensive lines. Like Derrick Henry and Saquon are going to be like, holy crap, we didn't get hit until we ran 2 yards. Last year, they were getting hit behind the line of scrimmage all the time, both of them. So it's going to be a whole nother world for both of them. Both running backs, I love the fit. I hate that Saquon's still in division, same as Gary. But as far as the fit goes, I think it's perfect for both. And Henry and the Ravens, man,
Yeah, Gary, this is what makes the NFL so great. NFL pre-off season is like so exciting when you have big free agents. And this is what just makes it exciting. Go ahead, Gary.
And it also speaks volumes to, just as an aside, how these running backs came off the board so quickly once free agency,
So quick.
once legal tampering started. It was kind of the opposite of last season where everybody kind of
mm-hmm.
waited and waited and waited. No, this year is like everybody is playing musical chairs. For Baltimore, as for Derrick Henry, we've talked about giving Lamar Jackson more weapons, giving him a good running back, which is the one thing. And listen, I'm not knocking Dobbins. I'm not knocking any of those running backs that they've had. The problem is that their asses cannot stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that then put the onus back on Lamar to then tap back into college Lamar when he's not college Lamar anymore. He's adult Lamar, and he can't be running around like that. And not saying that he has to be a pocket presence quarterback, but he can't be running around taking these hits anymore. He's getting older. It's not going to be as effective. So now you've given him a legitimate weapon. I will simply say this. If Derrick Henry can stay healthy, which frankly, I put this on the onus of the Baltimore Ravens medical staff, keep just
Mm-hmm.
one of your running backs healthy for 17 games. I dare you. I double dare you to do it. Like, just any of them. But now you've got an actual, like, dog, somebody with that dog in him, like Derrick Henry. Keep him healthy, and I promise you, Baltimore's going to go, we'll take that next step. I'll guarantee it.
How do you guard Baltimore if they're like at your 5 yard line?
Exactly.
It's impossible now. You got Lamar and Derrick Henry 5 yards out. You're scoring every time. Like,
But
They gave Lamar a weapon.
but they gotta preserve Derrick Henry. He's still getting
mm-hmm.
older. He can't get 30 touch, so they're gonna have to go. For me, with all these different moves, if you're a running back in the NFL draft, you're seeing your stock plummet because a lot of these teams, don't really need those many running backs, and you're probably going to wait to the 5th or 6th round. I am not sure when we're going to see a running back being drafted. I don't see that happening in the 1st round. We might not have one until the 3rd or 4th round. That is very possible. And there's a lot of free agent running backs that are still out there. It's going to make it a little bit.
I would not be shocked at all if the Ravens signed Zeke as well. Then you got Henry, you got Zeke, and you got the rookie from last year, Keaton Mitchell. Like, that's pretty star-studded. But that's star-studded backfield, and you wouldn't have to pay Zeke anything, really.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
But the goal line. But in the goal line, though, they're going to be dangerous in the goal line. I mean, that's Zeke and him in the goal line.
I mean, I'm just saying for Zeke and for Baltimore, that makes sense.
So now, Ben, with this question, do you still want to do these battles here? But being that we have like maybe
let's
9
keep this
minutes.
NFL talk going. No,
Okay,
keep this
all right,
NFL
let's
talk
do
going.
this. Gary, I want to toss it to you, man. What was one NFL move that you think was underrated that's going to be sneaky good next season?
A move that was made that's going to be underrated. Okay. Really, I'm going to go ahead and say, even though we just talked about him and we said we don't know how effective he's going to be with Green Bay, I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs just because, let's look at the running game in the NFC North. You've got who do you have in Chicago? You have Swift now, which will be okay. You have that tandem in Detroit, and Green Bay needed to do something to kind of stay relevant. This is a move to stay relevant, and I think especially when you see Minnesota, you don't know what moves they're going to make at that, to really kind of bolster that. I think that it could be a best case scenario. It's not necessarily the best thing to do. It's not necessarily the most prudent choice that you could have made, but all things considered, I think that he will have much more of an impact for Green Bay and kind of make them a stronger team going forward.
Hey, I like it, Gary. Oh, look who showed up. Hey, Tigney, how's it going?
Oh, it's good. You all were talking about the NFL, and I was trying to hurry what I got going on because I just was liking the dialogue and the conversation. Good evening, everybody.
Marisa.
How you doing?
Marisa. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes,
Janice.
happy belated.
Appreciate it.
Well, since you're on here, let's toss it to you. What we're talking NFL.
Go any
free
direction
agency.
you want to go.
What stands out? Say how you feel.
I mean, gentlemen, how can you not like this time of year right now? I mean, we're a week almost away from the NCAA tournament, but the NFL free agency has just been jumping all over the place, especially running backs. It's been absolutely interesting where the running backs are going. But I was listening to some of the conversation that y'all were talking about, where people were fitting in at and if it worked out and everything else. And I'm still intrigued by the agent of Kirk Cousins scoring him all that money with $100 million of it guaranteed. I need to know, did he go to the school of Bobby Bonilla's agent? Because I just need to know.
I just need to know. Graduated from the same school.
Summa cum laude.
Might be first cousins right there.
Summa cum laude. I'm just intrigued about that. But I do. The couple of things that I want to say is one, and I touched on it on a show that I just wrapped up on about Kirk Cousins getting that 100 of it being guaranteed and fitting right there into Atlanta. His wife is from Atlanta. They got family there in Atlanta. If everything all works out and that ACL thing that he's recovering from works out, Atlanta's going to be interesting to watch. They're a young core. I mean, was he like 35, 36 years old when the season starts? It's going to be interesting to see what Kirk Cousins is going to bring to the table. I mean, literally, he was cooking on all cylinders until week 8, and he had that unfortunate injury. So I'm interested to see that, as well as y'all talked about already the Russell Wilson thing. This to me is, I believe, going into this season, gentlemen, is going to be a very big, bright, hot, sweaty nervous-wracking spotlight on the Pittsburgh Steelers if this Russell Wilson 1 year, $1.2 million trial does not work. Not only, I mean, Russell Wilson is already pocketing cash while he's there in Pittsburgh. So pretty much this, this 1.2 is a gratuity, if you will. But if this does not work, expect pretty much the Pittsburgh Steelers organization to clean house. And that will be the last, I believe, that we will see Mike Tomlin on the sideline.
That's interesting because you fail on the guy you wanted, right? Pickett.
Yeah.
You fail on that, and then you take a chance on a veteran, and you fail on that. Yeah, I like that. I like that technique. I'm with you. I like it.
But it's conventional wisdom when you look at it's conventional wisdom if you look at the fact that they were 9-8 last year with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph at quarterback, and they had no ability to push the ball up the field.
None.
And with Russell Wilson can still throw the deep ball rather effectively. Maybe not as great when he was with Seattle. Like, they should account for at least 2 more wins, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
How many of us right now on this show and those that are watching, if you got offered $38 million to go away, would take it?
You can say 38 million and then that's it.
I'm raising my hand too.
You don't need to finish the sentence.
That's pretty much what Denver did. And but the thing is, and the beautiful thing, gentlemen, when football season starts, I want to say around week 8 or 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers go to the Denver Broncos.
Nice.
So
I like that. Yeah.
So what would be absolutely amazing is if this is going to be a Sunday night game or if this is going to be a Monday night game, and how Russell Wilson is going to be received. My whole amazing football fantasy that I want of this, and even though I'm a Lions fan and I want my team to do very well, Jeff, I'm wanting your team to do well for the sheer fact I want your team to do well, and I want Pittsburgh to do well, and both of them come together. And, right there, because the Boo Birds are going to be mother-friggin' out when Russell comes back.
That's going to be,
that's what I want. That's exactly what I want.
That's going to be a spectacle right there.
But I'm living in reality, though.
Jeff, I'm hoping that you're there. I'm really hoping that you're there.
Oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going.
Yeah.
Ben knows me. If I want to go to a sporting event, I will make it happen.
Oh,
Especially this. Especially this.
Yes, I will be there.
That one is definitely going to be a Sunday or a Monday nighter. I don't even care.
Absolutely.
I don't even care what the records are.
Absolutely.
They could be 2-6 and 3-5. That's going to be in prime time.
But here's the thing that people need to throw out, and I'll end it with this, is that you got a 35-year-old Russell Wilson. Please stop thinking he's not the same Russell Wilson as before. Yeah, that's right. It's called aging. He's not the same Russell Wilson as he was in Seattle, and I'm sure that he wants to forget about the last 2 years under, Denver Broncos, a la, Sean Payton, who just right now can't stand him. So it is what it is.
Hey, Jeff, one more name I want to throw out there because I know we're going to wrap here. Calvin Ridley. I'm a little bit surprised he's still available.
New England will wrap it up like a Christmas gift underneath the tree by tomorrow. Book it.
Okay, I can definitely see that. I'm holding out hope that he stays unsigned and Dallas swoops in because they could use another.
That's receiver. Literally, Ben. That's literally what I was getting ready to say.
I'm holding out hope.
It's the most Jerry Jones move that you can do is to go get him at the last minute and give Dak another weapon. And frankly, y'all haven't done anything this in the offseason yet. So, you're gonna. Dallas wants to have their splash. Give them their splash with Calvin Ridley.
The more days he goes unsigned, the small possibility slightly increases each day that he could end up in Dallas uniform. And
he's like that fisherman from the State Farm commercial when the girl is trying to grab the dollar. Oh, you gotta be quicker than that. That's what this is.
I'm gonna throw. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just going to say, we don't know because we haven't talked to him or his agents or anything. I think it's a possibility that there's to me, this is going one of two ways. He's going to go to a team that's really good because he wants to win, or he's going to go to a team that's really bad because he wants to get his numbers. and then he wants to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any middle ground. To me, he's going to a bad team or a really good team. Either way, to me, I think that's the outcome. I think for him. No, not at all.
He's not a scrub at all. I'm gonna throw one more in here. Josh Allen. I have a feeling that Stephon Diggs is not going to be a Buffalo Bill by the time training camp starts. I just have a feeling. And I feel the Bills are eventually going to waste the talent of Josh Allen, and he's just going to go off into the sunset and not really do much. Something's just telling me. I don't know. There's like a little birdie in my mind telling me.
I just think that the next show that we do, we need to talk about teams either after the draft or closer to the season that pretty much has already the seat a little hotter, if you will, going into this season. There's several teams that we can rattle off right now, gentlemen, that right now the spotlight's on them. I mean, we already talked about one, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The gamble that they're taking on a 35-year-old, not as mobile as he used to be, Russell Wilson. And we see what they're going to do in the draft and what pieces they're going to have. And TJ Watt coming back completely healthy. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, we'll see. But Gary, let's get you in for your gripe, man. I know you got to go, but we got to get it. Let's get it.
Okay, I'm getting back on camera real quick for this one because I want to talk about this whole Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. I have several questions, right? So, number one, who the hell asked for this, right? Number two,
money.
Who does this like? Yeah, it's all about money. So, who does this help? Like, I guess if finally it's a fighter that Jake Paul can actually fight that's like a legitimate boxer. But last time I checked, Mike Tyson was 57 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what's the win-win in all this besides the money? Are we going to have another one thing like Floyd Mayweather where they're not going to count this against anything that's just an exhibition? Because if I'm Mike Tyson, you're fighting somebody 30 years younger than you. I can't imagine, even if it is Jake Paul, I can't imagine that ending well for him. On the flip side, you go like that's good. A loss of Jake Paul further damages his legacy. At the same time, if you're Jake Paul, what does beating up 57-year-old Mike Tyson do for you other than to say give you more views on your social media? Like there's no part of this that is good. Saying all that, am I going to watch it? You're damn right I'm going to watch it because it's still like the one. If I had the means to do it and get down to Texas and go to AT&T Stadium, I go and see it because a Mike Tyson fight is on my bucket list. But I got to be honest, a Mike Tyson fight at 57 years old was not on my bucket list.
No one's bingo card had that.
But man, and it's just training, and it's just him against his trainer holding the thing. But Mike Tyson is taking it seriously. I can tell you that much. Those training videos, he trying to be like, yo, I'm almost 60 years old and I knocked somebody out.
I get that, like, but there's too much risk versus reward.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because he's gonna mess around, tear a rotator cuff, something. Right, he's gonna mess around,
57.
I mean, he's gonna tear a rotator cuff. He's gonna tear a hamstring, something. And for what? Just for a few extra dollars. Just sell some more of your weed, do more of your podcasts, and just make your money that way. There's no need to get back.
Or come on our podcast.
Seriously,
buy some more pigeons. You can go back to having pigeons up on the New York.
Yes, indeed. But no, that's a good one. I honestly now that's one I would actually fly to go see.
We're going.
Do that. That's tempting. It is actually
because everybody
I'll let you know.
Because everybody loves a good train wreck, and this is what this is going to be. There's going to be a lot of trash talking on the Jake Paul side. Mike Tyson not going to talk as much trash because he's more peaceful and zen now than he ever was. And we're just going to get a fight. It'll be a nice little sparring session at best, and then we will move on from all of this. But just again, there's too much risk versus reward on this.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Well, guys, that's all valid. But thanks for the gripes, Gary. It was It's always good. It's always a good one. Definitely. And Tigney, if I go fly out, I will definitely let you know because
There we go. Come on,
of
y'all.
I really am thinking about trying to make that one. But Tigney, we're glad that you're able to come on and join us in the time that you did. You got anything special lined up that you want to tell the audience, or are you just kind of just still doing the normal Tigney?
Still doing a normal
Sporting.
thing. You know, I always enjoy it when it comes to you gentlemen and talking and chopping it up on all things sports. I mean, again, the NCAA men's tournament, I need everybody to have that same kind of energy with the women's tournament. This is going to be a very exciting women's tournament, I feel. There's going to be some upsets happening and some things coming because some of the teams that have already punched their ticket, there's some sleeper teams in that mix. So please, NCAA, let's be fair all the way across the board for men's and women's, and let's just have a good time when we fill out brackets this Sunday coming up.
Yeah, I think we're more excited for the women's tournament than the men's. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm paying attention more to the women's than the men's.
You got Caitlin Clark, you got Angel Reese, you got Juju, the USC,
Juju Watkins.
You got South Carolina undefeated. You got LSU trying to defend its title.
You got UConn rising from the ashes.
UConn's there chilling, lurking. Tennessee's in there lurking. Like there are teams that are still lurking about. So this is going to be really entertaining. This is, for the first time, I really think since perhaps the 80s, the parity is real. Yes, you still have your heavyweights, your passes, your blue bloods, but at the end of the day, you can't say who. Maybe South Carolina is a prohibitive favorite to win a national championship. You can't give me a team that's like that.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the Georgetown, the Lady Hoyas of Georgetown. They lost their coach in 2023 due to breast cancer, unfortunately, and thoughts and prayers to the family of Tasha Butts, but they promoted their interim head coach, Darnell Haney. He is now their head coach. They announced it after they lost to UConn. The athletic director made that announcement in the locker room. And so it is official. Darnell Haney will take over as the Georgetown Lady Hoyas head coach. And that's absolutely amazing for that program, for those ladies. And we'll see what the sky's the limit for that, for what he's going to do with that team. So I'm very happy for him.
Awesome. Love to see it. I was hoping for that. That's great. No, that's awesome. Love sports. All right, guys. That was fun. Peace and love. Until next time, we'll be back at the same time, same place. Deuces. I'm going to go eat dinner.